Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this right now, there's a reason. Something inside you is restless. Something is unsettled. You may not know where you're going. You may feel stuck, confused, disoriented, and you're trying to make sense of it all. Let me tell you something that most people won't. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay not to have it all figured out. But it's not okay to stay there. You don't feel lost because you're broken. You feel lost because you're disconnected from your truth. You've been living according to what others expect. You've been playing roles. You've been checking boxes. You've been following paths that were never meant for you. And now your soul is screaming for alignment. It's not depression. It's a wake-up call. It's not failure. It's feedback. It's not the end. It's the invitation to come back home to yourself. There are moments in life when the road ahead feels unclear, when the weight of delay, comparison, or disappointment whispers that you're not enough, not ready, or somehow behind. But I want you to hear this today not as a cliché, but as a truth that could realign your life. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are in the sacred process of becoming. This isn't the end. It's not a failure. It's not a detour. It's a divine unfolding. Every setback, every silence, every sleepless night is shaping you into the person you were always meant to be, not for the approval of others, but for the fullness of your own purpose. So if you've been feeling stuck, lost, or unworthy, this is your reminder to rise. This is your moment to breathe, to believe again, and to step fully into your becoming. Let's begin. Feeling lost is not failure. It's a wake-up call to reconnect with your true self. In fact, some of the most powerful transformations in life begin with a deep sense of disorientation. That moment when you look around and realize that what once gave you meaning no longer fills you, when the routines you've been living feel empty, when success feels hollow and direction seems blurry. It's easy to interpret that feeling as failure, to believe you've missed your shot or taken a wrong turn, but what if that feeling of being lost isn't the end, but the beginning? Too often, we're taught to fear feeling lost. We're told to always have a plan, always be in control, always know what's next. But the truth is that expectation is not only unrealistic, it's limiting, because it's in the moments of feeling lost that we begin to question what truly matters. It's in the stillness and silence that we're forced to face the parts of ourselves we've been avoiding, and it's there, in that in-between space, that your true self starts whispering, calling you back. When you feel lost, it's a sign that your current life is no longer in alignment with your inner truth. It's not punishment, it's feedback. Your soul is saying, "This isn't me anymore." And if you're willing to stop running from that discomfort and instead lean into it, you'll discover that what you're really experiencing is not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. It's an invitation to peel back the layers of conditioning, expectations, and old stories so you can reconnect with the core of who you are. The feeling of being lost creates space, space to ask better questions, space to get honest, space to break free from the autopilot living that keeps so many stuck in cycles that don't serve them. It challenges your identity, not to crush it, but to evolve it. You're not who you were 5 years ago. You're not even who you were 5 months ago, and that discomfort you're feeling, it's the friction between the life you've been living and the life that's calling you higher. Feeling lost strips away the noise, the external validation, the performance, and while that can feel terrifying, it's also liberating, because in the quiet, you begin to hear your own voice again. You begin to remember the dreams you buried. You begin to notice the passions that still spark when everything else goes dim. You begin to see yourself, not as a title or a role, but as a human being with purpose, power, and potential. This is the moment where the false self starts to fall away. The masks, the expectations, the shoulds, and what remains is raw, real, and deeply personal. That's your true self, and when you reconnect with that version of you, everything changes. Your choices become aligned. Your energy becomes focused. Your life begins to move in a direction that feels right. Not just on paper, but in your soul. Feeling lost isn't failure, it's a sacred nudge to come back to what matters. To rediscover your path by first rediscovering your heart. You don't find yourself by seeking external answers, but by removing everything you're not. We live in a world obsessed with more. More knowledge, more information, more strategies, more success. We're told that if we just read another book, attend another seminar, follow another guru, we'll finally discover who we're meant to be. But the truth is, the journey to finding yourself isn't about accumulation. It's about elimination. It's not about adding layers. It's about peeling them off. It's not about becoming something new. It's about remembering what's already within you. The real you isn't hiding out in some distant destination. You're not going to stumble across your identity in a self-help manual or in someone else's definition of purpose. You're not going to discover your deepest truth by scrolling, comparing, or chasing what others have. You were never lost. You've just been buried under layers of expectations, labels, fears, and false beliefs. The process of finding yourself is actually about unlearning. It's about subtracting the noise so your inner voice can finally be heard. We've been conditioned from an early age to fit in, to conform, to adapt to systems, structures, and standards that often don't reflect our individuality. We build our identities around what others expect, what society rewards, what tradition demands. And over time, we start mistaking who we've been told to be for who we really are. But deep down, your soul always knows the truth. That ache you feel when you're doing something that looks successful but feels empty. That's your inner self reminding you, this isn't me. That quiet frustration you feel when you're trying to live up to someone else's version of your life. That's your spirit asking to be seen again. Finding yourself begins when you start shedding what you're not, the roles that no longer fit, the beliefs that limit you, the habits that numb you, the fears that keep you small. It's a process of letting go, not because those things never had value, but because they no longer serve your highest evolution. The moment you start to remove those layers is the moment your clarity begins to rise. You stop asking, who should I be? And you start asking, what is no longer true for me? And as you release what's false, what remains is real, what remains is raw, what remains is you, the you that doesn't need applause to feel worthy. The you that doesn't need permission to take up space. The you that is powerful, creative, intuitive, and deeply aligned. That version of you has always been there. It's just been waiting for you to stop searching and start stripping away everything that stands between you and your truth. This is not the easy path. It's not the glamorous one, but it's the only one that leads to freedom. Because once you've removed what you're not, you stop living in reaction and start living in intention. You stop chasing identity and start embodying authenticity, and in that space, bare, unfiltered, and real, you don't find yourself, you remember yourself, you return to your essence, you awaken your truth. Clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from courageous action and inner work. So many people sit on the sidelines of their own lives, hoping clarity will strike like lightning. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, the perfect sign to move forward. But clarity was never meant to be passively received. It's something you create by stepping into the unknown, by getting uncomfortable, and by daring to take action even when you're unsure of the outcome. Waiting feels safe, but it often becomes a trap. It's disguised as preparation, but it's often procrastination. You tell yourself, once I figure things out, I'll start. But the truth is, you won't figure things out until you start. It's in the doing that you learn. It's in the movement that the path becomes visible. Clarity is revealed through motion, not just meditation. It's found in the tension between action and awareness. Inner work is the foundation. You have to be willing to turn inward and ask yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? What's driving me? Fear or freedom? What limiting beliefs have I accepted as truth? This kind of self-examination isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary. Because until you understand what's going on within you, you'll continue to chase clarity outside of you, and it will always feel just out of reach. Doing the inner work means facing the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. It means digging beneath the surface and getting honest about your patterns, your wounds, your desires, and your fears. But this honesty doesn't weaken you, it strengthens you. It gives you self-awareness, and with self-awareness comes power. You begin to see what's been holding you back, and you gain the insight to change it. That's the kind of clarity that transforms everything. But insight alone isn't enough. It has to be paired with action. Courageous action, not just any action, but bold, heart-led action that moves you toward what matters. The action you take while still afraid, while still unsure, while still doubting. That's the action that changes you. Because every step you take becomes a vote for the person you're becoming. And the more you move, the clearer things become. You don't need to have it all figured out to begin. You just need to be willing to take the next right step. And then the next, and then the next. Clarity is built like that, one brave moment at a time. It's built through trial, through error, through adjustment. You start moving, and then you discover what aligns and what doesn't. You keep refining, keep listening, keep learning, and suddenly you're no longer wandering. You're walking with purpose. The clarity you crave doesn't live in the future. It lives in your willingness to act today, to take responsibility for your life, to stop overthinking and start doing. It lives in your daily discipline, your intentional choices, and your relentless commitment to growth. Clarity isn't given, it's earned. And you earn it by showing up fully, doing the deep work, and refusing to wait one more day to become who you were meant to be. Life's disruptions are not punishments. They are redirections toward your real path. It may not feel that way in the moment. When plans fall apart, relationships end, doors close, or dreams seem to slip through your fingers, it's easy to believe something has gone terribly wrong. It's natural to feel like you've failed, like you've lost your way, like life is somehow working against you. But the truth is, some of the greatest blessings come disguised as breakdowns. What you call a setback might actually be a setup for something more aligned with your purpose. We're wired to seek comfort and predictability, to map out life with a sense of control. But growth rarely happens on a path that's predictable. Sometimes, in order to truly evolve, we have to be interrupted. We have to be pulled out of the familiar and shaken awake from the autopilot existence we've settled into. Disruptions serve that exact function. They are life's way of saying, you're not supposed to stay here, you're meant for something more, think about it. Some of your greatest turning points probably didn't come when everything was going according to plan. They came when things unraveled, when what you thought you wanted didn't work out, when what you depended on vanished. It was in those moments of chaos that you were forced to dig deeper, to question, to pivot, to grow. Disruptions stripped away the things that were comfortable but not truthful. They made space for what's real. This redirection often feels like a breakdown, but in reality, it's a breakthrough in disguise. You're being rerouted, not because you're being punished, but because you're being positioned. Life is moving pieces around in ways you can't yet understand, aligning people, places, and opportunities that will meet the version of you that you're becoming. But in order to get there, something has to change. Something has to be released. That's where the disruption comes in. It clears what no longer serves you so you can walk into what does. When you resist the disruption, you create suffering. But when you trust the process, you find meaning. It doesn't mean the pain goes away, but it gives the pain a purpose. You start to see that maybe that closed door was protecting you, maybe that breakup was redirecting you to self-worth, maybe that job loss was pointing you back to your passion. Over time, the puzzle pieces start to make sense. What once felt like a detour becomes a divine direction. Trusting that life is working for you, not against you, requires faith. Not blind optimism, but deep, grounded belief that there is a reason beneath the resistance. That the universe, God, or whatever higher force you believe in is guiding you toward your true path, not the one you planned, but the one designed for your highest growth. When you begin to see disruptions not as detours but as guidance, your entire experience of life changes. You stop fearing the unknown and start embracing the unfolding, because you realize that every disruption is simply a redirection, an invitation to return to your purpose, your passion, and your most authentic path. You are not broken or behind. You are in the process of becoming who you were meant to be. It's so easy to look at where you are in life and feel like you're not enough, to compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel. To scroll through endless images of success, beauty, achievement, and wonder why you're not further along. But what if you're not late? What if you're not off track? What if right now, in this very moment of doubt or delay, you are exactly where you need to be? There's a false narrative that tells us everything should happen quickly, that our healing should be instant, our purpose obvious, our confidence unshakable, but that's not how real transformation works. Growth isn't linear. Becoming takes time. It takes breakdowns and breakthroughs, quiet seasons and chaotic ones. It takes mistakes, messiness, and the courage to keep showing up even when nothing makes sense. You don't become by rushing. You become by surrendering to the process and allowing life to shape you through every high and every low. Feeling behind is a symptom of forgetting that your journey is uniquely yours. You weren't meant to walk anyone else's path. You weren't born to replicate someone's timeline. You were born to unfold in your own divine timing, to evolve layer by layer into the person you were always destined to be. And every single challenge you faced, even the ones you thought would break you, have been carving something sacred within you. Strength, compassion, wisdom, resilience. These things don't come from ease. They are forged in the fire. You are not broken. You may feel tired. You may feel lost. You may even feel like giving up. But deep within you, something is still breathing, still reaching, still hoping. That part of you, the part that refuses to quit, that's the part that's becoming. And if you could zoom out just far enough, you'd see how all the pieces are connecting, the delays, the detours, the relationships that didn't last. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers, they weren't punishments. They were preparation, not for who you were, but for who you are becoming. You're not stuck. You're being shaped. Every moment of doubt is refining your faith. Every unanswered question is building your trust. Every delay is deepening your capacity. And every time you get up, even after falling apart, you're proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. You are being sculpted into something powerful, something purposeful, something necessary. Stop judging yourself by someone else's pace. Stop telling yourself you should be further by now. You're not late. You're learning, you're healing, you're rising, and while it might not look like progress on the outside, something sacred is unfolding within. You are in the middle of your metamorphosis, so breathe. Let go of the pressure to be perfect, and trust that everything you are walking through is part of your becoming. You're not broken, you're being built, you're not behind, you're being called forward. You are not done, you are just getting started. So if today you feel uncertain, if you feel tired, if you feel like you're not enough or not where you're supposed to be, breathe, you are not broken. You are not behind, you are in the middle of a divine becoming. Life is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Every step, every stumble, every silent battle is part of the sacred unfolding of who you truly are. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the shaping, because what is forming within you is stronger than what's falling apart around you. You are being equipped for something greater than you can see right now. And though it may be hidden, it is holy. Though it may feel delayed, it is destined. You are not finished. You are becoming, and your becoming is beautiful. Thank you for choosing to believe again. Thank you for showing up. The world needs the you that's emerging. Keep becoming, keep rising, keep walking. You are not alone.